They don't know my truth, captured in a frame, but my spirit's bulletproof. Took my freedom away, but couldn't silence my call. That whisper in the night, I'm innocent after all.
I am still here. Hear my voice, can't you see?
I rise with the sun.
Can nobody bury me? I am still here. Hear my heart, can't you feel?
Truth runs deep within.
It's the only thing that's real.
Counting down the years, but seasons on pause. Watch my dreams fade light behind bars. Hope is my anchor, a lifeline in the storm. Warmed by time, but my spirit won't conform. They label me a ghost, but my heart's still alive. The weight of a crime that I never contrived. No truth could change me, no lie could erase who I am inside. Rooted deep in this place.
Every sunrise whispers, justice will find a way.
I keep my head high,
living for that day.
to those who believe.
Thank you for seeing me.
The man beyond the wall.
Longing to be free.
Refuse to let bitterness define my legacy. Instead I hold faith, letting hope set me free. One day these gates will swing wide, truth will walk with pride. And when that moment comes, I'll be standing side by side.
Until that day arrives, I stand tall in my fight. Keep saying who I am, voice echoing through the night. I carry my story, it's far from over now. A heart of resilience, I'll show you just how. I am he and he is me. I am innocent, you see.
My story's still being written.
One day I shall be free. I'll chase the dawn, I'll seek the light, I won't back down.
With every step I take,
I'm claiming solid ground.
Cellmark, their chosen lab expert in the game, tested the blood, telling the world the name. Eddie Obrien, they said with conviction, but the truth came out like a hidden addiction. DNA tested, but what did it show? Excluded my man in that courtroom flow. Not a maybe, not a doubt, they sealed the fate. How you sell that story when the evidence won't wait? Stabbings and chaos, the narrative spins, but the DNA's whispering, where do we begin? You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. This ain't a fair fight. Eddie's been alone. Janet Downing's world, blood on the slate, but the night's truth waiting can't seal Eddie's fate. How do you even tell when facts slip away? We dance round the lies like the night turns to day. Lights dim down, jury on pause in the courtroom theater. I'm just a part of the cause. You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. This ain't a fair fight. Eddie's been alone. Oh, chaos in the streets, but the truth won't die. You can try to twist the knife, but look me in the eye. Exclusions in the lab, but you still want to shout. Did it run through your veins? What's this all about? They're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's alone. You believe in the shadow, but the light's never wrong. Eddie O'Brien's excluded, that's where you belong. How you gonna sell that story? Leave him out in the cold, in the echoes of justice. The truth's always bold.
What's up, everybody? How we doing today? I like them two songs. Yo, there was a couple bangers right there, you know. That first one, I like that one too, you know. Good beats. What's going on, everybody? How we doing today? You know, someone told me on Twitter I was as dumb as Bob George, and I was like, I don't know, I don't know if that's really disrespect, you know. But what is going on, everybody? How are we doing? You're getting ready for a big weekend. You know, did you hear in Pawtucket the car with the 3 generations in it? The mother was teaching the daughter to drive. The daughter didn't have a license or a learner's permit. It's like kind of like, why are you teaching her to drive? But anyway, you got the grandmother in the car. You got the mother in the car who's 19, and you got the 2-year-old baby in the back seat. You know, and they're teaching her how to drive right next to the new soccer stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Well, the car ends up driving off the pier right into the water, submerged right away. You know, within minutes, the car went on. She was on the phone with her husband while this was going on and saying, the brakes, it won't break. You know, a dude on a jet ski tried to jump in, you know, and just couldn't get to the people, couldn't get to the car. And all 3 passed away. 3 generations like that. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame. You know, you got to know your surroundings. You really do. You got to know your surroundings. You know, a lot of questions. Why were they in that area? You got a whole parking lot above. You know, and one thing I don't want to do is Monday morning quarterback it and say what they should have done, because I've seen a lot of ignorant people on social media. You know, everyone had the answer. Oh, they should have had something in the car. You ever try to underwater? You ever try to, like, you know, notice how you move slow? Even if they had a hammer, it wouldn't have helped. But yeah, you know, prayers go out to that family, that community, you know, 3 generations, grandmother, daughter, the baby, 3 generations, man. So my prayers go out to them. Prayers go out to, you know, that poor family. You know, I couldn't even imagine. But one thing we can imagine, hey, look at that. Margot Nash. We're going to talk to Margot this weekend. I think it might be Sunday because the 4th is a holiday. So plan this weekend. You know, if you guys are around Sunday, you know, I'll probably still do something on the 4th, maybe earlier, because, you know, I don't know if everyone, well, you all could watch it later. You know, but the Politics of Murder, 2nd edition by Margot Nash, huh? Give it up for Margot Nash, man. The power and ambition behind the Altar Boy murder case updated and expanded with 10 new chapters. Oh, you heard that right. How many new chapters? 10. 10 new chapters. What did you just share? 10 new chapters. Absolutely. 3 angels taken too soon. Yep, 3 angels taken too soon. Absolutely. But all right, so you could join us for a night of food, auctions, fun, trying to raise money for the Eddie O'Brien Defense Fund. I'm gonna bring down. We'll bring all the music. Um, So yeah, I think it should be a great, great time. But before we, I just want to say, I think we got to absolutely shout out Margot's name with respect. The respect it definitely deserves. And the more that I hear about Margot Nash, a woman who just didn't write a book, Margot wrote a warning. And hopefully everybody, and we wasn't on Twitter. I really don't like Twitter too much. I mean, there's a lot. I can't block their comments when they say some dumb shit. But whenever they come out with Met, that you on Met, that's always a terrible thing. Ignorant people though, ignorant people. But yeah, so Margot, she didn't just investigate a case. I would give her credit for exposing a system. It's going to be really nice to talk to Margot next week, because I think she's a woman who, I don't look at Margot as just standing up for Eddie O'Brien. She stood up against an entire political machine that thought nobody would ever question it, especially exposing all of this stuff, and while the state was busy building a narrative, all this time, the last 30 years, Margot and Eddie, they were busy uncovering the truth about all this, because prosecutors just wanted to have their story for the camera. Yeah, maybe I'll try to pull it up. Hang on. Let me take the banner down. I'll also share it in the it should be on social media and all that stuff. So all right, now you could try it. Margot had to dig through all of this stuff, the evidence that they hoped nobody would ever read. And I'm glad when she finally got around to it. Not finally, but when she did get around to it. She definitely found a lot of stuff, a lot of contradictions, the altered lab reports, look at the fingerprints, the timeline, witnesses, the politics, all things that the jury never, ever heard. And nobody can say that Margot did this for fame. I don't think she definitely didn't do it for applause. And I talked to Margot last week for about 20 minutes and getting to know her a little bit. I really believe that the truth mattered more than her own comfortability. And let's be real, right? That takes courage that most people will never, ever have, to stand up against the system. A lot of people would rather stay quiet. It happens all the time. It happens in your community, whether it's school committee meetings, town meetings. Like, nobody ever wants to stand up against the truth. But I give Margot a lot of credit when she wrote that first book, because she knew that she could be walking into a storm, and maybe they would try to silence her, maybe they won't. And years ago when she took over this case, I mean, she walked into a courtroom, and it's a culture that punishes anybody who questions authority. And here she is going to help Eddie and write a book about how the political environment was so crooked. But I think ambition mattered, right? More than, when a 15-year-old boy became the stepping stone for Tom Riley. Margot stepped up and she became his gal. She didn't fold, she didn't back down, and then years later, she writes the book, The Politics of Murder, because she knew the public deserved to see what was behind the curtain. Oh, yeah, what's on the other side? What are you not telling us? What are the power players, the pressure, the shortcuts, the evidence that never made it to the jury box? So much stuff. And she wrote it because I think Eddie deserves somebody who wasn't afraid to say, listen, something's wrong here. You people screwed this kid over. And she wrote it because justice doesn't happen by accident, right? It happens because somebody refuses to let the truth die quietly. Can you hit the like button, please? Margot she didn't want to let the truth die, and I think before we talk about Eddie a little bit, before we talk about the evidence, that the jury never seen, the fingerprints, the DNA exclusions, the contradictions, and boy, there are some contradictions, Can we honor the woman who made sure that none of this stayed buried when she came out with her first book, Margot Nash? Shout out to you, the voice that refused to stay quiet. Definitely a friend to Eddie, an advocate, a lawyer, who stood alone when it wasn't popular. I mean, the author who told the story, of behind the curtain, how it really happens in the state of Massachusetts, in the Commonwealth. They didn't want anybody to ever hear that. And if you're in the chat, and if you're in this chat, right now, or you're watching later in the comment section, if you're watching the stream, if you care about justice, you care about truth, you care about accountability, you care about Eddie Obrien, or you just want people in the back that just watching a down low and stay quiet. But either way, I think you owe Margot your attention, because without Margot Nash, half of what we know today would still be locked behind politics and a narrative that wasn't meant to even be questioned. But now here we are. What are we doing? We questioning everything. We questioning everything. So yeah, stop what you're doing, listen up, because we have a moment that's bigger than the book signing, man. It's a big moment. It's a Rule 30 motion, and we're still here, and we ain't done yet. But before all that, on Friday, August 7th, from 6 to 10 p.m., get your butt down to the George Doughboy VFW Post in Somerville. On Summer Street, Margot Nash will be there signing the second edition of her book, man. 10 more chapters, man. And let me tell you, son, this isn't just a book. You're going to read 10 more chapters, the blueprint, the record, stuff that we never heard before, timelines, all kinds of stuff, And this is the courage that it took to stand up against a crooked system that no one ever would ever question it. So she didn't just write the Eddie Obrien book. That's right. The ambition, the pressure, the shortcuts. So this event is not just a sign-in. It's food, it's community, it's auctions, it's people coming together to raise money for Eddie Obrien Defense Fund. Because let me tell you, justice doesn't stop, and neither do we. So if you're anywhere near Somerville, pull up. And if you ever said justice matters, pull up. And if you ever looked at this case and said something ain't right, pull up. This is your chance to meet the woman who refused to let truth die quietly. Pick up your copy. They go up on sale July 28th. This is your chance to stand with Eddie supporters. This is your chance to meet other Eddie supporters. It's your chance to be part of something that really moves the people, moves the needle. August 7th, Somerville, Mass., the Dillboy VFW. So let me know who's pulling up, who's grabbing the book, who's ready to stand with Margot and Eddie. Let me know.
Yeah. You know where I stand? Yeah. You know where I stand. These walls echo my name, but they don't know my truth. Captured in a frame, but my spirit's bulletproof. Took my freedom away, but couldn't silence my call. That whisper in the night, I'm innocent after all.
I am still here. Hear my voice, can't you see?
I rise with the sun.
Can nobody bury me? I am still here. Hear my heart, can't you feel?
Truth runs deep within.
It's the only thing that's real.
Yeah. Counting down the years, but seasons on pause. Watch my dreams fade like light behind bars. Hope is my anchor, a lifeline in the storm. Warm by time, but my spirit won't conform. They label me a ghost, but my heart's still alive. The weight of a crime that I never contrived. No truth could chain me, no lie could erase who I am inside. Rooted deep in this place.
Every sunrise whispers, justice will find a way.
I keep my head high.
Living for that day. To those who believe, thank you for seeing me.
The man beyond the wall.
Longing to be free.
Refuse to let bitterness define my legacy. Instead I hold faith, letting hope set me free. One day these gates will swing wide, truth to walk with pride. And when that moment comes, I'll be standing side by side.
Until that day arrives, I'll stand tall in my fight. Keep saying who I am, voice echoing through the night. I carry my story, it's far from over now. A heart of resilience, I'll show you just how. I am he and he is me. I am innocent, you see.
My story's still being written.
One day I shall be free. I'll chase the dawn, I'll seek the light. I won't back down.
With every step I take,
I'm claiming solid ground.
yeah.
Cellmark, their chosen lab expert in the game, tested the blood, telling the world the name. Eddie Obrien, they said with conviction, but the truth came out like a hidden addiction. DNA tested, But what did it show? Excluded my man in that courtroom flow. Not a maybe, not a doubt, they sealed the fate. How you sell that story when the evidence won't wait? Stabbings and chaos, the narrative spins, but the DNA's whispering, where do we begin? You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. This ain't a fair fight, Eddie's been alone. The night's truth waiting can seal Eddie's fate. How do you even tell when facts slip away? We dance round the lies like the night turns to day. Lights dim down, jury on pause in the courtroom theater. I'm just a part of the cause. You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. A fair fight, Eddie's been alone. Oh, chaos in the streets, but the truth won't die. You can try to twist the knife, but look me in the eye. Exclusions in the lab, but you still wanna shout. Did it run through your veins? What's this all about? You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. You believe in the shadow, but the light's never wrong. Eddie O'Brien's excluded. That's where you belong. How you gonna sell that story? Leave him out in the cold, in the echoes of justice. The truth's always bold.
We back. No, the Rule 30, it was pushed off for like another 2 weeks, 2 more weeks, I believe. You know, so just wanted some time to get some last minute things in, I'm sure. You know, but it will be very, very soon, and you will be the first to know. Now, it was June 30th, but they one of the lawyers just needed another week or two to make sure they're really, really prepared. So, you know, it will be soon. And then we explained how it goes. The judge has like 30 days to read it. He don't even have to read it, but the judge has 30 days to read the Rule 30. You know, they have time for the prosecutor. Yeah, it's all right, you know. You know, time for the prosecutor to respond, and then Eddie's lawyer has time to respond. But oh boy, yeah. It's big. Everybody's anxious, you know? Everybody is definitely anxious. Yeah, I figured today, you know, we'll go over some of the, you know, evidence that the jury never got a chance to really hear about. You know, what was kept from the jury in the Eddie O'Brien case. I mean, basically, we're coming up on this June, you know, we're coming up on July. We're 1 month away from Eddie being locked up 31 years. You know, a jury walks into that Massachusetts courtroom believing that they were about to hear the whole truth. I thought it might have been paused. You know, they thought they were going to walk in and hear the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Your browser lost connection to your screen share. That's okay. We'll get this up there. Yeah, imagine how Eddie's feeling, right? Waiting 31 years. Poor guy, man. Poor guy. And I'll tell you what, 2 weeks in there, when you're waiting for something to happen, man, 2 weeks is a long, long time. But what did the jury never see in Eddie's case? The fingerprints, the conflicting testimonies, right? The redacted location, the evidence, right? How they really found the evidence in Eddie's bedroom, but they wanted to be slick and let's go hide it outside in the garbage so we could pretend we found it outside. Dirty, dirty, rotten bastards, man. The denied DNA testing. How about Riley hiding the cell mark paperwork, Well, let's not forget about the jury misconduct. The timelines had never made it into the courtroom. So many things the jury never had a chance to hear. And we're not talking about conspiracy, documented, sourced. And they buried this material. But all this buried material is finally being brought to light. I mean, what was it? 5 unidentified fingerprints, a palm print never shown to the jury. Did you know about that? Conflicting grand jury testimony. Yep, the 51 pieces of evidence and only like 20, 22 or 27 pieces really made it in. Conflicting testimony given 30 minutes apart. How about the multiple alibi witnesses that were ignored? Right? The reports that didn't match the prosecution's narrative. I mean, like, really? Oh, there's more. How about the location that was redacted? Right? The evidence placing Eddie elsewhere. How about that? Oh, and we can't forget about Paul Sr.'s buddy that was on the jury, the misconduct. Now, that's part of the Rule 30 motion. Can't forget about that. Oh, let's not forget about the damn denial of the DNA testing of the other suspects, huh? Artie and Paul Jr. Post-trial reports revealing evidence the jury never heard. I mean, there's so much stuff. The 2 state police crime lab employees that were fired. That's right, not long after his trial. I mean, let me tell you, people, justice doesn't expire, man. The truth don't disappear, And I think if you care about wrongful convictions, the way the prosecutors, conduct themselves and how easily they can replace evidence. This is mandatory right here. If you want to hear more, definitely subscribe. We've been going over this case. We're going to continue. And when that Rule 30 drops, we're going to have a lot of information that y'all never seen before. The stairwell noise at 8:15. I mean, let's talk about it. Everybody can see what's on the screen. I mean, the jury never had a chance. The loud noise that they heard during the birthday party. John DePietro is a super idiot. A lame. A big, big lame. You know, but now Virginia, the neighbors, they heard loud banging on the stairwell at 8:15, right? Neighbors Reckley and Flynn hear loud banging noises on the stairwell at 8:15 p.m. Now this matters because Eddie's alleged timeline doesn't match the noise at all, and the jury never heard that somebody else was making noise in the exact area where the murder happened. That's another big one. The Amatol test, the truth serum that Eddie passed, but then they never allowed it in. He never allowed that in. You know, and the metal piece that excluded Eddie. You know, a piece of metal that was found on the stairwell, it had DNA on it. Right now, we got the cat out of the bag. There was DNA found. But we just have to let the people know that then, right? That public service announcement Power Home Remodeling Company is a horrible company. Poor quality products, installations, and customer service buyer beware. The Route 30 is in 2 weeks. Well, that's when it gets submitted. It only gets submitted in 2 weeks. It got postponed for 2 weeks. The lawyer needed 2 weeks to go over a few things. Absolutely, we can go on and on about all of that corruption. You know? So, but there was DNA, you know, on the knife. There was DNA. Yes, Eddie's DNA was taken. But the male DNA was excluded, right? It was excluded being Eddie Obrien as the source. On the knife, also, the jury never heard that physical evidence at the scene. You know, it pointed away from Eddie. And that's why when people criticize me, oh, Eddie's good, you know, like, oh, Bob George couldn't get it done. Well, I'm not a lawyer. And, you know, it's not my, like, that's another attorney. Bob George didn't do a great job. But whatever. But the deck was stacked. I mean, once you tell somebody that there was DNA that was on Janet Downing and Eddie was excluded from that, there was DNA on the murder weapon, but Eddie was excluded from that. Yeah, well, that don't mean nothing. He still did it. I'm like, you can't talk to these people. You can't convince these people. The ones that sit in the back and they don't say anything. They piggyback, right? The piggybackers. Oh, absolutely. I bet it goes way farther back than the 70s. Absolutely. You know, the lab chemist that changed her results. And she switched the results, pictures of grapes, front. The lab chemist McGilvray switched serology results from her lab notes to her report she submitted to court. And then there was another item, 39 dash. Oh, well, we're kind of skipping ahead a little bit. But look at the bathroom sink. Virginia Reckley, right, said the water was running in the bathroom from 8:30 on. Sergeant Firmino observed the sink still running at 10 p.m. The drain stop was engaged and the excess water was draining down the drain overflow. And right away, like, all right, let's put that together, 2 and 2. No, they didn't. Like we said the other day, that crime scene was like contaminated from the jump. But in her notes, right, it shows A and B, but the report shows AB. AB is not A and B is not AB. That's a completely different blood type. And the jury never heard that. The prosecutor's own chemist altered her findings. Like, is that something that the jury should know? Should the jury know that? That the prosecution's own chemist altered the findings. I mean, I think that is a big mother effing deal. A big, big deal. The blue blazer from the cellar. The lab chemist once again switched her results on that item. Listed in her report AB. Items 81 and 82. Well, actually, the V-neck blouse first. I keep jumping over here. The V-neck blouse. Once again, the lab chemist did what? Yep, we got it. Switch to friggin' results. Lab note listed the ABO is as A-B, and her report listed it as AB. That's a big deal. That's a big deal right there. It's a rough, hot day, boy. I got the pool vacuum today, but yeah, rough, hot day, man. I look at rough. Fingernail clippings, 81 and 82 excluded Eddie Obrien, right, as the male source for the secondary source on both samples. You still feel like, oh, Eddie did it, and you and Bob George are idiots. Like, so the crime scene, right? This is kind of crazy. The crime scene contained, right, one unidentified palm print, right, 4 unidentified fingerprints, right, unidentified, right, all identifiable. So what it means is, right, they all belong to somebody else. We can identify them. We can read them if we knew who they were, but they're unidentified prints, but they all can be identifiable. But we don't have that information now. The door positions, right? The front door opens. The foyer door closes, right? When Abreu, Fitzpatrick, and Dion was at the house at 9:15. The front door was closed and the foyer door was open when Brian Downing came home at 9:55 p.m. Somebody was entering or exited the home during this timeline. When the prosecutors are saying Eddie was inside committing this murder, the jury never heard this contradiction. Maybe if the jury would have heard this contradiction, it would have been different. Oh, the bloody earring. Let's talk about that. The bloody freaking earring. The bloody earring was found. No testing was done on that item. No, you don't think it would have been a good idea to test the bloody earring? If you want to support the channel, grab a membership. We really appreciate it. I think we lost 40-something members. But yeah, support, grab a membership, super chat, whatever your pleasure is. I appreciate it. But no testing was done on the earring either, right? The blood stain, no DNA, no serology, nothing. The jury never heard that a bloody item was ignored entirely. I mean, the blood stain that was extracted, right, was collected, and the lab made no conclusions on that. And 4 and 8 was in the bathroom sink. But let me ask you something, chat. Let me ask you something right quick, right? How do you convict a 15-year-old kid, when you never showed the jury the fingerprints, the palm prints? Oh, listen, if any of y'all are, Pokemon collectors, I'm actually breaking down my card collection. I'm getting rid of everything, everything. I got the 99 series. I got the first series. I got nothing but good cards. Everything I have. So if you're looking for a really, I would call it exquisite Pokemon collection, sports card collection, just let me know. Message me. We're getting rid of it all. But look, the neighbors heard banging at 8:15, and the sink was running from 8:30 to 10 8:30 to 10 o'clock. So someone else's prints are all over the crime scene, right? And Eddie is excluded from multiple DNA samples. The prints in the bathroom excluded, excluded everywhere. Eddie is. Right here, 6 and 7 is where, she found Janet. But how do you call that justice? The jury never was showed the fingerprints, the palm prints, the DNA. They weren't told about the DNA being excluded, right? The altered lab reports. They didn't know about that. But Eddie is still, yeah, he's still guilty, people. Come on. I mean, and look at this. Neighbors heard banging at what time? 8:15 p.m. The sink was running from 8:30 to 10 p.m., right? Whose prints was all over that scene? And Eddie's excluded from multiple DNA samples, chat. So who was in the house? Who do you think was in the house, chat? Let me know. You know, if you think it was Adi, put a 1. If you think it was Paul Jr., put a 2. Was it Ryan? Was it Mr. Plum? Break it down like Clue. Was it Adi? You know, a lot of people think it was Adi. You know what Jay Brew come out and said? You know, I don't know how true that turned out to be, but was it Adi? You know what I mean? Was it Paul Jr.? I don't know. Who was in the house? Was it Big Paul? I'll tell you who it wasn't. Put a 0 in the chat if you think Eddie was not in the house. You know? I mean, this is why these wrongful convictions happen, right? Not because the truth wasn't there, but the truth wasn't even allowed in the freaking room. It wasn't even allowed in the room. In chat, man, what do you think? Do you think another thing I want to know from the chat? Patricia White hit the nail on the head about Paul Jr. Absolutely. Yeah, 1 and 2, huh? A lot of 1 and 2s. Adi and Paul. We got 1 and 2. If it wasn't Adi, then he was covering for Paul Jr. Wasn't Paul Jr. in the house? Absolutely. Oh, you guys are great. You guys are some great detectives. You know, some great detectives. Absolutely. If that truth serum test didn't go their way, if he failed it, you bet your ass they would have used that shit. They would have definitely used it. You know, so we gotta wonder who do them fingerprints belong to? Who do them fingerprints belong to, man? You know? And I'll tell you what, and I know this for a fact, people. Does it sound like Eddie Obrien got a fair trial? 1 plus 2 equals 3 equals, so E equals AO. EAO. So we know it was a vowel. we know it was a vowel, right? AO. I mean, does this sound like a fair trial? You know, and what does it mean when the doors change position between 9:15 and 9:55, right? Who was in and out of the front door? You You know, who went in and out of the front door? Hey, big shout out to Mama OB. What's up, Patricia? How's the knee feeling? Hopefully it's feeling better. Aunt Jerry in the chat. What's going on? Another one of the great mods over here. You know, we got our top mod, Denise Noel, you know, handling it. Denise be like, she be cracking, you know, hitting that sniper rifle. We got sniper rifles over here. You get out of line in the chat, you get sniped. You know, but if the lab, and how about this, you know, people, listen, the lab did change results 3 times. And something Trisha said, you know, the DNA testing is only as good as the person testing it. Hey? And check it out, people. This weekend, we're going to have Margot Nash live in the hot seat. We're going to be breaking down the Politics of Murder 2nd edition. You know, and there might be some great questions. So if you have a question for Margot Nash, email me, canwekeepitreal5@gmail.com. Put Margot Nash in the subject and write your question. And we'll see if your question makes it, you know, to the questions that we're going to have for Margot Nash this weekend, man. So, yeah, Margot Nash. Probably going to be Sunday. We scheduled it for Saturday, but with Saturday being the holiday, oh no, go take care of that. You can't let your debit card get compromised. Yeah, you be careful out there, though. We need you. You're a great mod. You know? My wife said you're a great friend. You know? She said you all are great people, man. You know? But yeah, but the lab changed results, you know, a couple different times. You know, and how about this? How about the bloody earring? It never got tested, ladies. How important is that? Because you all wear earrings, right? You know more about earrings. They find a bloody earring, you know, on the floor, you know, in a struggle, in a fight. I know some of you were probably scrappers back in your high school days, you know. How important is that bloody earring? You know, should have that been tested? And the doors open and shut, the front door. Who was coming in and out of the front? Who had the chance to be able to sneak in and out of that front door? You know, and somebody brought something up that was, you know, great the other day. Was there somebody in the house when Janet got home at 6:30? Did one of the kids say, I know what they did? They were hiding in the house. Should we listen? Should we put any stock in that? Was somebody hiding in the house? There's so many questions. But oh my God, so many friggin' questions. I mean, what other questions are we missing? You know, where all the groceries brought in from the trunk, we got 2 bags accounted for. Paul said he was in the house. He seen his mother alive and well at 8:30. I don't know about that, Paul. I don't believe you. I mean, it ain't no secret. I already said Paul's a worthless man anyway for putting his hands on his mother. I mean, there's so many questions that could be answered here, and you know they never investigated the rest of the house. The whole Downing family at one point or another was known to be violent, was physically violent. The whole family. Shout out to David, free Eddie. I seen Jojo working down near the train station. Them people going to Gillette. Boy, man. Yeah. Paul Senior used to beat Janet. You bounced her off wall to wall, and that's where Paul learned it. Well, if my daddy did it, then maybe I could do it. I mean, chat. Come on, let's open this up. We going through the evidence. We talked about the politics. We've talked about the jury stuff that they never heard. I mean, let's do drop your thoughts, your questions, your reactions, man. Let's talk about it. Why does Margot Nash matter so much in this case? Great, great Margot, man. See, I think Margot matters, right? Because she's the one who broke the silence, and she was a court officer. She's the one that said, hold up, this case doesn't add up, and I'm going to expose it. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to show you what's behind curtain number 2. The politics behind Eddie's conviction. Margot said, I'm going to show you all the shortcuts. I'm going to show you all the pressure, the ambition. I'm going to show you the evidence, right, that never made it into the courtroom. Because without Margot's work, a lot of the stuff that we're discussing tonight maybe would still be buried. And another question I was thinking about, right? What's the biggest piece of evidence that the jury never heard? Let me see what y'all think about that one. What's the biggest piece of evidence the jury never heard?
Not promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
Let's see what the chat there, man. They would have blood. Oh, absolutely. He would have blood in his eyes. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is how it is. Look at that. Big Ed in the house. I'm getting souped up. I'm getting excited. Gina's testimony. Oh, yeah. The biggest evidence the jury never heard. The DNA evidence that excluded Eddie. Oh, another good one. Aunt Jerry comes in with DNA. Robert said there would have been blood all over him for sure. At Denise Noel, standing by, ready to snipe someone. She had truth serum. Yeah, she goes with the truth serum. I love how the chat is getting involved. Yes, Ed, that's a huge one. Yes, Gina is definitely big. Gina, the truth serum, all big ones. Wow, this is great. I mean, there's so many good answers to this question, right? But if I had to pick, Maybe the identified fingerprints, the palm prints. I can't pick. Gina, the truth. Trisha O'Brien, ding, 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 ding. Oh my God, beautiful. Beautiful. I'm still on one of her kids or ex. Absolutely. That's a great one, Trish. That is a good one. But the fingerprints, multiple prints. How about they're all identifiable, but they're unidentifiable? I mean, they all belong to someone else, and the jury never heard a word about them. Never. How about this one, folks? How did the lab results get changed? What was it, 3 times? How did the lab results get changed? Oh, look at that top mod coming in with 20 gifted Can We Keep It Real memberships. Salute to you guys, man. You know what? This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about, man. Thank you, y'all. And I actually did get a new laptop this week with the YouTube money that came in. So, I appreciate everybody. But how did I post this one yet? How did the lab results get changed? They write one thing in there and then it becomes another. And let's see. And I'll tell you what, a lot of us already have memberships. So what's going to happen? And this is great when this happens, right? I love when this happens because when the live is finished, right, there's people that are going to sneak in later and they're going to watch, they're going to watch the replay crew. They're gonna watch a replay, and when they come in, they get banged with a membership. Here you go, bing, 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 and then we see who's coming in and watching the show. That's what's up. Riley played with the DNA. Hit the like button, chat, please, and thank you. How you feeling, Robert? You take care of yourself. I'll give you a call soon. You take care though. Don't think you have to. I think about you a lot, bro. So take care of yourself, bro. Hey, Patricia White gets a gifted membership. What's up with that? Congratulations. Yeah, let me go over to my bad. I was reading, son. I'm behind. Absolutely not a fair trial. Don't worry about it, Conlan. I'm behind and I host a show. Speaking of hosting the show, I'm gonna go up there and host that show up in Somerville. I'll bring the microphone, I'll bring the speakers, we'll bring the music, get out there to Somerville. If you're gonna be in the area, if you are gonna be in the area, don't forget, Margot's book signing. First, let's get this comment down. You're going to be in the area on Friday, August 7th from 6 to 10. Get over to the George Doughboy VFW post, 351 Summer Street in Somerville, Mass. The power and ambitions, the author behind the Altar Boy murder case. So come over there, check that out. Going to have 10 new chapters. Be auctioning things off, telling stories, telling Eddie stories, talking about this case. I look forward to being there, absolutely. So let's see who got this. Congratulations to Golden Girl with a gifted membership. Cat's Pajamas, Lindy to you. Farm Denim with receiving the membership. Originally Jola, Mojo Rising 101, Miss Dre, Big Brian Pierce, all picking up a gifted membership. And it was more. Atlanta received a gifted membership. Patricia White at Crow's Root. Oh, shout out to, how you doing? At Crow's Roots, my good friend over there from Twitter. Miss Lisa, right? Shout out to Miss Lisa. At Liz Gray, Sticky Doll, MG454 USA, Lana M 2022, all picking up a gifted membership. Congratulations. Y'all should come in the chat. Let's talk about it. What do you think about the Eddie Obrien case? What do you think about what we've been talking about today? But how did the lab result get changed? I think that the chemist, when they wrote one thing in her notes, then submitted something different to the court. Another thing that was really funky about what the chemist did was doing A'(B) in the notes and then just AB in the report. That's not a typo. That is not a typo. That's a switch. It happened too many times for it to be a typo. Too many times. And the jury never heard that either. That's something else that the jury never had a chance to hear. I'll tell you what, another good question is, Big Ed O'Brien said that the jury never. He's absolutely right about that. Let me bring it back up over here. Right on, Mikey. Let them know we welcome all the new members. Absolutely. We definitely welcome all the new members, man. You're welcome over here. No hate in this chat, Come over here and let's talk about it. Another big question, people, right? For the Eddie O'Brien people, listen. what's the deal with the doors being open and closed, the front door? Does that make any sense? You have any answers for that? But the doors being open and closed. At 9:15, witnesses saw the front door open. The foyer door was closed. Right? At 9:55 p.m., right, Ryan Downing comes home, right? And the front door is closed and the foyer door is open. So that means what? Somebody's entering and exiting the home. What do you guys think about with the door? The deal with the doors being open and closed. Is there any significance is that? If we are investigating, we're the investigators, this chat right now. What are we thinking about the doors? Absolutely. Hey, Con is coming in. Conland is coming in with some good ones today. Let me tell you. With some good ones. Marco, the kid's friend, lied too. Absolutely. But now 9:15, witnesses saw the front door open and the foyer door closed. Right? So let's fast forward it. Was that before or after Paul Jr. supposedly left? Well, at 9:55, Ryan comes home and the front door is closed and the foyer door is open. So that means somebody was entering or exiting the home during the exact window the prosecutors claim Eddie was inside committing the crime. The jury never heard them timeline contradictions. So all great questions. What was the deal with the doors being open and closed? I like that one. How did the lab results get changed? Another great question. Another one was, what was the biggest piece of evidence the jury never heard? And everybody was answering that. How I would answer how did the lab results get changed is, the chemist was an idiot. The chemist was crooked. We had a dirty chemist. And with the door being open and closed, 9:55, Ryan comes home and the front door's closed, the foyer's open. So somebody was coming in and out. When the prosecutor claims Eddie was inside doing what he did. And that's another thing that's almost impossible. He would have been covered from head to toe. Covered from head to toe. Give me a minute. We'll be right back. I
Not
promise.
promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
Shadows dance in the neon glow. Tales of fear on the evening show. They needed a monster for the 5 o'clock news. A 15-year-old boy they could easily use. a bloodstained car and locked up a peacemaker behind iron bars. They call him a predator to hide their own lies, but we see the truth when we look in his eyes. A loyal young soul, so gentle and polite. We're standing together to finish this fight. Unchain the gentle giant, let a good soul breathe. Free Eddie the Teddy, it's time he's released. Break down the courtroom walls, let the truth ring clear. Bring our selfless boy home in the 30-year tear. They hid all the palm prints, the DNA strands, put a lifetime of blame on a child's scarred hands. But the science is speaking, the silence is broke. We're tearing the fabric of the web that they spoke. He's grateful and compassionate, steady and true. An innocent man wearing prison cell blue. The system can bend, but it's breaking today. We won't stop shouting till he walks away. Unchain the gentle giant, let a good soul breathe. Free Eddie the Teddy, it's time he's released. Break down the courtroom walls, let the truth ring clear. Bring our selfless boy home in the 30-year tear.
Tired of their stories, tired of the pain. We rise up together, we'll dance in the rain. He's our gentle giant, our shining star. We'll fight till the end, we'll carry him
Okay. Quick little plug for myself. Look, I'm just want to show you if anybody knows about these cards. I'm about to get rid of like my whole collection. I got shells out here. There's all good cards here. I mean, this is all 1999. So if anybody is interested in, and I guess this is becoming a business now. So I got a very, very big collection. Just getting rid of them, just letting that be known. You know, but would a suspect be covered in blood? I mean, let's be real. If this happened, right? Let's talk about something basic, right? Something that every detective, every forensic, basically anyone that works on a crime scene, they all basically been across this one time or another. You know, but would have Eddie been covered head to toe in blood? I mean, if someone committed a close contact stabbing like this, right, that Eddie was accused of, and this should be part of the evidence as well. I mean, they would be covered from head to toe in blood, would they not? I mean, if someone committed, a stabbing like the one that Eddie was accused of, would they be covered head to toe in blood? I'm not talking about a drop of blood, not a speck, not maybe he wiped it off, not a little bit on his shin or his kneecap. I'm talking covered, right? Front, arms, hands, clothes, shoes, hair, everything, ears, nose, toes, eyes. I mean, everything. It would be in the eyeballs because stabbing isn't clean. That's some messy, chaotic, violent shit, right? And blood doesn't politely stay in one place, right? It sprays, it transfers, it pools, it gets everywhere. It would have been inside his eyelids, in his ears, everywhere. It sprays. Now if we compared that to Eddie Obrien, right? Eddie had no blood on him. He had no blood on his clothes, right? No blood on his shoes. No blood on his hands, on his body, on his hair. I mean, he had no blood anywhere. No blood in the bathroom that he used at Burger King. Nothing. No blood in the sink. No blood in the drain. Really? So we're going to keep saying that Eddie did this, man. Not one forensic indicator that he was anywhere near a stabbing chat. Nowhere. And you know what that means, right? Forensic don't lie. DNA don't lie, right? Narratives do. And I think if Eddie had done what the Commonwealth claimed Eddie had done, he would have walked out like a horror movie. Like Carrie. Absolutely. Looking like Carrie from head to toe. And pre-Eddie Tay. Yeah, they didn't want to cross-check with family because they knew if they did that, and that's when we explained the Selmark Lavatories. Check this. When Selmark called Riley and said, listen, Eddie's excluded. He said, listen, don't tell nobody you said that. Stop testing until you hear from me. And they didn't even present that to the jury. They didn't even present it to the friggin' jury. And I might even have that document on hand. And how do you not have something like that for the jury? And it's even dated July 25th. And we'll find more about that out in the second book as well. 10 chapters, man. There's going to be a lot of stuff in this book, and this will be in the book. Am I saying too much? Am I giving away too much about the book? Because maybe I already know what's in the book. Maybe I don't. Maybe I already read it. maybe I'm going to read it with you guys. Yep, a white t-shirt. Welcome, Oxymoron. Where have you been? Big shout out to Oxymoron. I love when I see people that have not been in the chat come back, and not that they leave for any particular reason. My schedule is just a little crazy. But the fingernails, right? That excluded Eddie. Janet's fingernails. The metal piece, right, that they found on the third stair, that excluded Eddie. Right here, the police. Yeah, why Paul go into the ocean with his backpack? He could have washed himself off and jumped in the water with his clothes. Salt water, a great disinfectant. Absolutely. I think it was said, well, I know that the police actually recovered, let me see if I have it. I think they recovered the stuff that was left inside the backpack, and I believe there was like a pair of sneakers, a knife, right, Paul? You had a knife in there. Let me see if I got it on here. Yeah, I think it was a knife, a pair of sneakers. Yeah, great event at Seekonk Speedway the other night. Oh yeah, more leaked evidence over there. Oh, that's what I was looking for. I don't have it. I thought I might have had it. You have all over the hands, the nails, the fingernails, the metal piece, the unidentified fingerprints that belong to somebody else, right? How about the palm prints? How about the bloody earring that wasn't tested? The lab results that were altered, right? The door that didn't match. I mean, the sink was running from hours. Look, I could take that right now and give you a damn closing arguments. You know, I could break this down right now, like without any prep work at all. You know what I mean? And do some closing arguments. Just by using what I just read. Yeah, I'm not sure. Did they ever test Paul's knife? No? They never test Paul's knife. Of course not. I mean, absolutely. I could just using look, just using the stuff like this. The fingernail scalpings, right? The metal piece, the unidentified fingerprint that belonged to somebody else, right? The palm print will add into it, right? I'm gonna do closing arguments, right? What else are we gonna put in there? The timeline didn't match, right? How about the sink was running for hours? You know, back was killed. You know, the sink was running for hours. I mean, if the killer should have been covered in blood, you know, so I mean, Chet, you know what? Type blood if you understand how impossible the prosecution story was. I mean, forensics don't lie. I mean, so who do you think left the fingerprints? You know, and who do you think left the palm print? You know, and what do you think was in that house? Or who was in that house between 9:15 and 9:55? You know, who was in the house? But I would say like this, if it was me, if I had to like do look, my closing arguments would have been listen, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, look, we're gonna walk through this evidence, right? Piece by piece. Right? We're gonna look at what was collected, we're gonna look at what was ignored. How about what was altered and what was never shown to the jury? Because I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if the glove don't fit, make it fit. Shout out to JoJo for that one. You know, but now we stand at the conclusion. The facts allow us. I mean, let us go through it one last time. The fingernail excluded my client. It was not inconclusive. It wasn't his. It wasn't maybe. It was excluded. Now, this is me just doing closing arguments. You know, I want to see if I could nail it, right? So, the fingernails under whose DNA is under Janet's fingernails? Listen, I'm not going to insult the jury right now, but the metal piece excluded Eddie Obrien. Physical evidence from the stairway, the very physical evidence that the killer used pointed to someone else. Don't let the prosecution fool you. How am I doing? Am I doing okay for closing arguments? Look, the identified fingerprints, they belong to somebody else. Look, I know, jurors, you have a hard job to do. You have a lot to figure out. But do you know what you do with stuff like this? When there's DNA that's someone else other than the suspect, you vote not guilty. That's an Alan Jackson one. I mean, the metal piece excluded him. You vote not guilty. Physical evidence from the stairway, people, you vote not guilty. The very path the killer used, right? You vote not guilty. And come on, the identified fingerprints belonging to someone else, right? You vote not guilty. The palm print belonged to someone else. A full palm print now. Left behind by the real killer and ignored by the prosecution. You vote not guilty. Oh, big shot. Oh, free bird. Thank you. I stand on facts, not what ifs. Eddie is 100% innocent. A real killer would be bloody, yet Eddie's DNA isn't on the knife or under Janet's fingernails, while fence sitters ignored the evidence. The jury never saw. The proof exposes a corrupt framing. Eddie didn't do it. Shout out to Freebird. You know, I'm doing Eddie's closing arguments right now. I said, you know what? Let me see if I could handle the closing arguments. You know, thank you very much, Freebird. I really appreciate you. But back to the jury. The chat is our jury, right? Back to the chat, right? The fingerprints, they belong to someone else, right? Not smudges. They're not partials, right? Not unidentifiable prints from an unidentified person. And when that happens, you vote not guilty. The palm prints belong to someone else, left behind by the real killer. The bloody earring wasn't tested. No DNA, no serology, no explanation. You vote not guilty, people. The lab results were altered. Do you realize that a chemist changed her findings between her notes and her reports? Not once, people, not twice, but multiple times. I'm enjoying myself. I think this is fun. I love this stuff. Like, you know, too bad Eddie's freedom's on the line, but I would love to be up there giving his closing arguments. You know what I mean? Praise God, because God puts it all in me. You know? Look, witnesses heard banging on the door. The sink was running. Right? The door changed positions several different times. I mean, that, ladies and gentlemen, is reasonable doubt. But all that time, Eddie's in there committing that crime in 7 minutes. That, ladies and gentlemen, is impossible. See, the doors didn't match, right? The front door open, the foyer door closed, the front door closed, the foyer door open. Yeah, musical doors. And that is something that the prosecution never accounted for. The sink's running continuously for a long time. You know, and Sergeant Firmino, if I would like to talk to you for a minute, the mayor told us about that you was a little crooked. So we got a crooked alleged cop. He found the water still running at 10 p.m. He said the drain was engaged. The water was overflowing. I mean, somebody used that sink. Somebody washed up. Somebody cleaned themselves up. And I would say to the jury, do you remember when we started this trial and I asked you all, if you had to vote right now, what would your vote be? And I said, don't answer that. The only explanation that that vote should be is not guilty, because we haven't even started yet. Because you always start off innocent and you have to work up to guilty. But no, they want to start off as guilty and have you work backwards. So where was the blood on Eddie? Because, listen, right? Someone used the sink, right? Somebody washed up. Someone cleaned themselves up. Someone came out of that house looking like they just got out the shower. And that somebody was not Eddie Obrien. Because if the killer should have been covered in blood, and he should have, and they would have definitely been, like I said, the front to the back, their clothes, their shoes, everything. Then ask yourself, where was the blood on Eddie? Where was the transfer on Eddie? Right? Where was the spray? Right? Where was the cast off? Where was the cleanup trail on Eddie? Where was it? Listen, people of the jury, that is not guilty, right? Where was the forensic footprint of a violent crime? There was none. Because it wasn't on his clothes. You know why? There was no blood. It wasn't on his shoes, on his hands, on his body. It wasn't in the damn bathroom that he used. It wasn't in the sink that he touched. It wasn't anywhere, because Eddie wasn't the one who did that. The evidence doesn't whisper it. And it proves the real killer left fingerprints. The real killer left the palm print. The real killer left DNA. And the real killer wasn't washed up in a sink. And the real killer moved those doors. They left behind evidence the jury never saw. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is what you call reasonable doubt. And this is reasonable certainty. And the only thing that you should be coming out of that jury room with on your mind is Eddie Obrien is innocent. Thank you very much. And that would be my closing arguments. And now it's time the world says it loud. You know, so you are the jury in the chat. You know, you already know, put a 1 for not guilty, and 2 if you think he is guilty. You know, but that's how I would give my closing arguments. You know, I'm so excited, you know, just getting ready, you know, did so much work, broke down so much information. You know, I thank my wife, all the hard work my wife helped me do, you know, driving her nuts. Look up this, look up that, look up this. You know, big shout out to Freebird. Freebird has been so much help. There we go. We got some ones going up in the chat. 1, if he's not guilty. 2, if you think he is guilty. You know, but yeah, tremendous help from Freebird. So much work. And now we're just a couple weeks away, you know, from getting this rolling. You know, and it's not over yet. It's definitely not over. You know, I'm predicting maybe November, December. Well, right about the time Turtle Boy goes to trial. Wouldn't that be something? Turtle Boy is going in, Eddie's coming out. You know, that would definitely be something. You know, we have a lot of ones, man. I think it's unanimous, man. I think Eddie is not guilty. I think he'll be jumping in the Benz, you know, driving to Capitol Grill, you know, I don't know the way it's looking. I mean, JoJo has been working a lot. You see him busting his ass down at the train depot, so he's definitely working on that stake money. So, shout out to JoJo. Shout out to JoJo. So while the jury finishes deliberating, your boy needs a drink. I'll be right back. And I ain't talking about alcohol. I'm talking about a Coke and a smile.
Cellmark, your chosen lab expert in the game. Tested the blood, telling the world the name. Eddie Obrien, they said with conviction, but the truth came out like a hidden addiction. DNA tested, but what did it show? Excluded my man in that courtroom flow. Not a maybe, not a doubt, they sealed the fate. How you sell that story when the evidence won't wait? Stabbings and chaos, the narrative spins, but the DNA's whispering, where do we begin? You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. This ain't a fair fight, Eddie's been alone. Janet Downing's world, blood on the slate, but the night's truth waiting can't seal Eddie's fate. How do you even tell when facts slip away? We dance round the lies like the night turns to day. Lights dim down, jury on pause in the courtroom theater. I'm just a part of the cause. You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. This ain't a fair fight, Eddie's been alone. Oh, chaos in the streets, but the truth won't die. You can try to twist the knife, but look me in the eye. Exclusions in the lab, but you still wanna shout. Did it run through your veins? What's this all about? You're trying to pin the blame, but you're missing the mark. Eddie's outside, lit up, nothing but dark. Can't blame the dog when it wasn't even home. This ain't a fair fight, Eddie's been alone. You believe in the shadow, but the light's never wrong. Eddie O'Brien's excluded, that's where you belong. How you gonna sell that story? Leave him out in the cold, in the echoes of justice. The truth's always bold. Yeah. You know where I stand? Yeah. You know where I stand. These walls echo my name, but they don't know my truth. Captured in a frame, but my spirit's bulletproof. Took my freedom away, but couldn't silence my call. That whisper in the night, I'm innocent after all.
I am still here. Hear my voice, can't you see?
I rise with the sun.
Can nobody bury me? I am still here. Hear my heart, can't you feel?
Truth runs deep within.
It's the only thing that's real.
Yeah. Counting down the years,
but seasons on pause. Watch my dreams fade like light behind bars. Hope is my anchor, a lifeline in the storm. Warm by time, but my spirit won't conform. They label me a ghost, but my heart's still alive. The weight of a crime that I never contrived. No truth could change me, no lie could erase who I am inside, rooted deep in this place.
Every sunrise whispers justice will find a way.
I keep my head high,
Living for that day.
to those who believe.
Thank you for seeing me.
The man beyond the wall.
Longing to be free.
Refuse to let bitterness define my legacy. Instead I hold faith, letting hope set me free. One day these gates will swing wide, truth will walk with pride. And when that moment comes, I'll be standing side by side.
Until that day arrives, I stand tall in my fight. Keep saying who I am, voice echoing through the night. I carry my story, it's far from over now. A heart of resilience, I'll show you just how. I am he and he is me. I am innocent, you see.
My story's still being written.
One day I shall be free. I'll chase the dawn, I'll seek the light. I won't back down.
With every step I take,
I'm claiming solid ground.
yeah.
Alrighty then. Here we go. We're back. Look at all the messages up there. Yeah, big shout out to Freebird. Absolutely, Absolutely. Big shout out to Freebird. But yeah, looking forward to the 7th. I like to, I'm gonna say, can I host the event? I want to host the event on the 7th. Wouldn't that be great? Hosted by me. Hosted by Mikey. I want to introduce Margot Nash to the audience. That would be my pleasure. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, listen, man, we're not done. Yo, chat, listen to me for a second. Listen to me. Maybe I'm overtired right now, because I gotta, y'all know I work third shift, I work hard. And I love when Mr. Obrien tells me stuff like this. Mike, you have done a wonderful job breaking all of this down. You did a lot of work. I mean, I feel good about when I hear stuff like that, especially something like this, because, I put a lot of hard work into Eddie's case in a short time. A lot of work. And I can't say I did it by myself. I may be up here. You may only see me. I may be the face that represents Can We Keep It Real podcast, but I'm definitely not alone. I have people like Freebird that have my back. My great wife that's been helping me out so much. Denise Noel, what can I say about Miss Denise? Respect to her. She has been a great mod. I couldn't ask for anything better. Besides her running a successful business, giving me a hand when I need a hand. Man, what can I say? I'm just so appreciative. I mean, in the last few months, just right here on this channel, right, just alone on, no, that ain't the one. But just right here on this channel, we uncovered a whole lot of a lot. And I'm not taking away from anything that anybody else did because, they definitely did their work as well. But we done a lot of work, you know. But yeah, man, breaking down all the case law, the evidence, the timelines, more inconsistencies, that some people see in an entire career. And I'm not even an attorney. And every single day, every single night, your people show up in this chat. We may only have, 50, 75 people, but you know what? You were the 50, 75 people that's important. And it's growing. It's growing. You ask questions, you challenge the narrative, and you grow, And Freebird, man, Freebird, you already know. I mean, Freebird's been rocking with us, helping us grow, keeping the energy strong, giving me great advice when things start to go left. Thank you. Thank you. Now that is a thought provoker. That was who really be provoking thoughts. But let me tell y'all something, right? We are not done. We're not even close from being done. Because the Eddie Obrien story, I ain't even had time to get a haircut. The Eddie Obrien story, it's not over. It's long from over. Right? And, I got to say, this community, this chat right here, I think this movement in the last couple of months, I mean, yeah, I've been reading about this case, talking about this case, but it was just the last few months that on this channel, y'all came over here and you got it popping, and we went over transparency, everything. We're going to get the answers that were buried for 31 years now. Because coming up on July, it will be 31 years. And every night, every show, we're pulling it back a little bit more, pulling it back. Every night, we expose another sucker, another inconsistency. You know what I mean? We bring forward evidence every night, another night. We're telling y'all something. So we get closer to what's true, closer to the system that tries to hide, right? And chat, y'all did that. Y'all helped me do that. Y'all helped me stay on the grind and keep pushing forward. While me and wifey over here working up legal research, Freebird helping out, everybody doing their part. Miss Denise doing her part. Everybody had something to do. Honeybee for a while was doing the hype videos, hype the video. I really appreciate it. Hype the videos so more people see them. Shout out to JoJo, man. I was told his word is gospel, for standing with Eddie. When I tell JoJo, listen, the people love you, bro. He said, don't love me. I'm not nobody. Love Eddie Obrien. Don't love me. I said, JoJo, hey, what are you going to do? It is what it is. Good dude, man. Good dude. And he's someone that definitely stands with Eddie. So I say thank you to everyone standing with Eddie. I say thank you if you're standing with Miss Margot Nash. Thank you if you're standing with Mr. and Mrs. Ed Obrien. Thank you if you're standing with Aunt Jerry. Thank you if you're standing with all the sponsors, all the people that support Eddie Obrien and been holding it down from day one. But listen, chat, man, we are not done. We are not done by a long shot. All right, we'll be back with a final word. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Them the tweet they tried to bury. Yeah. I'm the storm. Yeah. I'm the storm they tried to bottle. The truth they tried to drown. 15 years old, they threw a king's weight on a child's crown. But I rise like a riot, like a siren in the night. And I'm calling out the dude who's been ducking the light. Name's Art Ortiz. Yeah, that fraud. Moving like a shadow puppet pulled by a coward god. Every time the block shake, he the first one to vanish. Moving like guilt, wearing sneakers, sprinting off in a panic. I'm like, why you always running when the truth get loud? Why your footsteps echo different from the rest of the crowd? You slither through the alleys like a rumor with legs. But when the questions start flying, you crack like eggs. I was sitting on the porch, whole hood saw me chilling. You was creeping through the dark like a plot. You was feeling you a ghost with a heartbeat, a whisper with shoes, a silhouette sprinting off, dropping half-baked clues. I spit metaphors heavy, you the fence jumper phantom, the backyard bandit, the night shift random. You the type to leave footprints, but swear you ain't walk. The type to hear your name whispered and pretend you ain't talk. I'm the kid they tried to bury, but I grew like a vine. Truth climbing every wall, exposing every design. You the dude in the shadows, ducking every spotlight beam, moving like a glitch in the neighborhood dream. This ain't an accusation, this a lyrical red. A metaphor for every grown man who let a child bleed. For every dude who stayed silent while a kid took the fall. For every shadow in the night who ain't stand up at wall. So fictional art, so listen, I'm the storm you can't dodge. I'm the truth in the alley, I'm the ghost in the lodge. I'm the voice of the timeline, the pulse of the street. And every lie you ever told get exposed to the beat. So keep running and hiding, but you can't escape. Truth so relentless, tide your facade's gonna break. I'm the storm, I'm the light, I'm the echo, the fight. And when the beat drops down, you're gonna feel me tonight. Yeah. Yeah. Them the tweet they tried to bury. Yeah. You know where I stand. Yeah. You know where I stand. These walls echo my name, but they don't know my truth. Captured in a frame, but my spirit's bulletproof. Took my freedom away, but couldn't silence my call. That whisper in the night, I'm innocent after all.
I am still here. Hear my voice, can't you see?
I rise with the sun.
Can nobody bury me? I am still here. Hear my heart, can't you feel?
Truth runs deep within.
It's the only thing that's real.
Yeah. Counting down the years, but seasons on pause. Watch my dreams fade like light behind bars. Hope is my anchor, a lifeline in the storm. Warmed by time, but my spirit won't conform. They label me a ghost, but my heart's still alive. The weight of a crime that I never contrived. No truth could change me, no lie could erase who I am inside. Rooted deep in this place.
Every sunrise whispers, justice will find a way.
I keep my head high. On the wall,
longing to be free.
Yeah. Refuse to let bitterness define my legacy. Instead I hold faith, letting hope set me free. One day these gates will swing wide, truth will walk with pride. And when that moment comes, I'll be standing side by side.
Until that day arrives, I'll stand tall in my fight. Keep saying who I am, voice echoing through the night. I carry my story, it's far from over now. A heart of resilience, I'll show you just how. I am he and he is me. I am innocent, you see.
My story's still being written.
One day I shall be free. I'll chase the dawn, I'll seek the light. I won't back down.
With every step I take,
I'm claiming solid ground.
right, yo. Thank you, man. What a great show we had today, man. We really got rocking, man. You know, I've taken yesterday off. I wasn't really sure what to talk about today, but I think I know this case so good inside and out that we get it rocking. You know, yeah, we just not for drama, not for gossip, the chaos. I mean, we don't want to hear that. You know, not over here. You know, we just want to get the truth out there. We want to break down, you know, we want to break down case law together. You know, help other people break down their cases. Maybe start talking about other cases. So maybe you or someone you know has been, you know, wrongfully convicted and you're listening out there, you know, reach out to us. Can we keep it real 5@gmail.com? You know, let us know. Let us talk about it. You know, let me look up the case, see what we can do. You know, but you can reach out to any of the mods, myself. We studied this timeline together, right? We exposed the inconsistencies together. You know, we asked the questions together, right? And every single time, we all did chat, man. We all came back with more and more and more. I appreciate that shit. I really, really do. Every single time, I appreciate it. Greenberg, you know, already knows, you know, been holding it down, keeping the energy strong, keeping the conversation honest. And it's not just one person, it's all of you. It's the entire chat. You know, the work that my wife puts in, the work that Miss Denise puts in, you know, everybody, all the mods, you know, it's all of you. Every comment, you know, the work that JoJo puts in, everyone has their own job, their own responsibility. You know, every day, just share. Hit the like button. It don't cost you no paper. You know, every time you all said, nah, that isn't right. See, we're not just content, right? We're going to say we're the content or they're the content. All I'm interested in is talking about Eddie Obrien and letting people know that this shit is wrong, you know, and things like this can't happen. And as a community, we need to stand together. You know, we need to support Margot Nash, support Eddie Obrien, support Mr. and Mrs. Obrien and the entire Obrien family, because I think we believe in justice, right? And that's worth fighting for, or it's worth taking a beating for. You know, and it won't be the first beating, you know, that we take, or the last. You know, so thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for pushing this conversation forward, right? But we're not done, because y'all, we got more coming up. You know, so if you're new here, welcome. You know, if you didn't just stumble into the live stream, even if you did, welcome. You know, you are now in a community that actually gives a hell, gives a damn, gives a freak. You know, we're going to break down some real cases. We're going to analyze real evidence. You know, ask real questions. And hold people accountable. Just like you would hold us accountable. So if you want this shit without theater, without transparency, without politics, maybe you want just justice without the noise, without the BS, the hypocrisy. Well, hit that damn sub button. We need 30 more to get to 800. We still trying to crack 1,000. Yeah, hit that sub button. Hit that notification button. Join that conversation. You know, it's the Eddie Obrien case. Let me tell you, it's far from over. And I think the more eyes we have on it, right, the harder it becomes for anyone to ignore what is true. You know, so if you're new, I want you to stay. Please, I appreciate it. Give it a chance. Don't believe the hype. A lot of haters out there. You know, we got 20 new people today that we have new members, which is awesome. Big shout out to Denise for the 20 gifted memberships. Thank you very, very much. Big shout out to Freebird, you know, for the 100. We really appreciate that. See, that's passion. You know what I mean? That's passion. That's why they do it. They have passion. But this is your invitation to be part of the passion as well. Alright, we out of here, people. Thank you. You know, free Eddie. Get them flyers out there. You know, there is so many people to thank in here. Aha, definitely goes out to them, said Mr. Obrien. You know, so don't forget, man, give it a chance, you know. Join us again tomorrow. You know, so much don't matter. You know, but we're gonna free Eddie, get him the hell out of that joint. And then this case can be closed at that point, man. Lots of love, lots of respect. We outie, man. Thank you. See you on the other.
Every time the mic drops, truth walks in. Mikey in the booth, yeah, story deep. From the streets of Rhode Island to the world online, we break down real cases, no script, no line. Families hurt, voices unheard. We bring the facts out raw, every single word. We dive deep into the trenches, shine a light on pain. No hiding from the truth, we're here to explain. Mic drop, truth rocks, raising up the stakes. Mikey's got the pulse of the world in breaks. Voices rising high, we're changing the game. Every line a lifeline whispered in shame. Every line a lifeline whispered in shame. stories of the broken, lifting them from dark. A platform for the lost, yeah, we're hitting our mark. No more silence in the shadows, only strength in the sound. Each mic drop a declaration, truth breaking ground. Echoes of the past, but we're breaking the chain of force of real time.
You walk through the gates. Reality sets the stage. With every step, the walls whisper your name. You go to prison, they shackle your dreams, an echo in the dark, or so it seems. Fighting your case with nothing but truth, clenching your fists as you steady your proof. And then they hit you with words like stones. You show no remorse, they carve in your bones. You won't take responsibility, you're not ready. We paint with excuses, keep the truth unsteady. How you gonna take blame for a storm you didn't bring? Like blaming the man who's just caught in the swing. The system don't care about the path you tread, only about boxes and a story well read. A trapdoor's waiting on both sides of this game. Confess to a crime, dance in someone's shame. They're looking for confessions, not justice, not grace. Just a clean little narrative that fits in this space. 20 years in, then 25 more, still saying, I didn't do this, don't they just ignore? Instead of respect, they punish your fight, turning truth into chains, darkness swallowing light. How you gonna take blame for a storm you didn't bring? Like blaming the man who's just caught in the swing. The system don't care about the path you tread, only about boxes and a story well read. This ain't rehabilitation, it's a game they play, trading innocent souls for compliance each day. And here's the truth bared raw like a wound, real remorse for the guilty. That's the tune they croon. But innocent hearts beating inside those cells need their stories to shift away from these hells. Change the definitions, let compassion in, because real justice starts where the truth can begin. Your innocence should never serve as your
Hey, yo. They said Janet came home normal. I said, stop the cap, cause the neighbor saw the whole scene. Her behavior wasn't regular. That timeline, nothing about it clean. People don't pull in, sit 5 minutes, pull back out, park again. Stand outside like they fighting thoughts deep within. Unless something heavy got under their skin. Oh, Commonwealth wanna pretend she was calm. Man, miss me with that. Michelle watched her whole routine glitch like a mind buffering, trying to process a fact. She only brought in 2 bags, but the trunk was full. If everything normal, why she moving like she stuck in a lull? Why leave the rest in the car? Why freeze up mid-task? Why step back out and smoke like she needed time to unmask? That ain't I just got home. There's something weighing on me. As my spirit ain't settled, that somebody or something been playing on me. She smoked the whole cigarette, not a drag, not a taste. The whole thing like she trying to calm a storm she ain't ready to face. But y'all wanna force Eddie into danger mode? Nah, the vibe ain't matching. She wasn't rushing inside, she wasn't scared of who y'all claim was attacking. She was outside at least 10 minutes, visibly upset, acting strange, moving different. And the prosecution tried to rearrange like none of that mattered. But this opens the door to other interactions, other stressors, other people, other explanations. And that's exactly why they ignored it. Cause once you admit she was upset, you gotta admit the story ain't set. And the whole prosecution narrative started looking like a bad URL vet. All performance, no threat. I said the truth hit harder than any bar I could craft. And this timeline right here, yeah, it's the part where the Commonwealth get laughed off the map.
Locked in a cage where the truth fades away, in shadows of doubt where they make you pay. Go to prison, fight your case, stand tall on the truth in this desolate place. I didn't do this to scream to the skies, but all they hear is the echo of lies. As the parole board asks for remorse, you see, how can you apologize for something not done? Chained in a cycle that leaves you undone. You want a confession for what I didn't do? It's a trap door, baby, a noose they've drawn for you. Turning truth into just a liability. Your integrity's a curse in this dark reality. Show responsibility, they demand without a care, but their justice is a game that's rigged somewhere. 20 years in, and the clock.
Hey Mikey, do you see what I see? Flickers of light in the darks, can you hear me? It's a story we never knew, a whisper to unfold. Lay it out clean and cold.
can show. They needed a monster for the 5 o'clock news. A 15-year-old boy they could easily use. They threw his clean clothes in a bloodstained car and locked up a peacemaker behind iron bars. They call him a predator to hide their own lies, but we see the truth when we look in his eyes. A loyal young soul, so gentle and polite. We're standing together to finish this fight. Unchain the gentle giant, let a good soul breathe. Free Eddie the Teddy, it's time he's released. Break down the courtroom walls, let the truth ring clear. Bring our selfless boy home in the 30-year tear. They hid all the palm prints, the DNA strands, put a lifetime of blame on a child's scarred hands. But the science is speaking, the silence is broke. We're tearing the fabric of the web that they spoke. He's grateful and compassionate, steady and true. An innocent man wearing prison cell blue. The system can bend, but it's breaking today. We won't stop shouting till he walks away. Unchain the gentle giant, let a good soul breathe. Free Eddie the Teddy, it's time he's released. Break down the courtroom walls, let the truth ring clear. Bring our selfless boy home in the 30-year tear. Tired of their stories, tired of the pain. We rise up together, we'll dance in the rain. He's our gentle giant, our shining star. We'll fight till the end, we'll carry him far.